Hello everyone and good evening. It's Adam here. I have not done a video like this in a while. This is my 5D on a tripod with the 2470 lens, I think. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a video like this. And the last time I did a video like this was either before Woogie's or maybe it was like a 500 subscriber thing. Speaking of that, we're at like 920 subscribers, which is for me a little amazing. I started posting videos to YouTube 8-9 years ago. But it was always like a posting to YouTube to go onto my blog. It wasn't like to have an audience on YouTube. It was just like a place to store things where playback was pretty much accessible on all platforms. So that was kind of the goal of YouTube. And then last year when I got the Golf R, people really started watching those videos. And I was like, well, I'm going to modify the car, so let's just keep doing it. So here we are. So I digress though, because the point of this video is for the motorcycle trip that's coming up, and I thought it would be appropriate to do a face-to-face talk to discuss the trip, some of the ideas and planning that's going into it, and sort of some considerations to make, especially if you're about to embark on your first motorcycle trip. I think these are all some pretty important things. Now, some backup information or backstory. I'm in northern New Hampshire, so about an hour and a half south of the Canadian border. Keep that in mind when you're taking my advice that I'm up north, and it is October the 7th. I think I leave the 12th on Friday, so something else to think about is late October road trips out of New Hampshire. I'm also on a very large 1200cc touring motorcycle, the off-roading GS Adventure from BMW. So with all those things in mind, I thought I would discuss my trip and what I plan on doing on the trip. So sorry about the mess, but I am in the middle of packing. All this stuff's going to go with me, so it's kind of a lot of stuff. I got my cool little helmet here, which I'll wear for the rest of the video, just to have a little fun with you guys. Alright, anyway. This thing's great, though. It has like this awesome, like, woo, it's pretty fun. So, I'm leaving New Hampshire, I'm going on to Florida, I'm doing the trip in 5 or 6 days, depending if I have a day off for either being too sore or for weather reasons. The plan is to leave New Hampshire either Friday at noon or Saturday around 10 a.m. And why the two different times? Well, because Friday at noon I can basically get to the southern tip of New York State, the upstate version of New York State, not New York City, or and basically camp that night. Or I can leave Saturday morning, in which case the temperature Saturday morning is 26 or 24 degrees here in New Hampshire. So I thought I would leave a little bit later, get a hearty breakfast, leave when it's about 30 degrees, and then kind of enjoy the rising temperature on the way down to Pennsylvania. So day one could either be Friday, 5 hours of riding where I end up in Binghamton, New York, right on the border of Pennsylvania, or a Saturday ride where I ride for 7 hours and basically end up in Williamsport, PA, which is where I wanted to go this whole time. I've been there twice this year, believe it or not, and I'm going to go a third time. I love the city. I love has great mountains all around, really nice cafe, really nice restaurants, coffee roasters, ice cream places. Just like for a culinary, Williamsport's rocking. I don't know why I love it so much, but I've been there 3 times, and as a part of trips. So I want to go back. So it really depends on what happens. It might snow Friday night, in which case I leave here Friday at noon, because I don't want to touch any ice or any snow on my ride on Saturday at all. It's you're asking for basically ending your trip really early if there's any risk of rain. And then once there's rain, if the temps get below like 35 at night, you're going to start having some black ice. So on a motorcycle, you want to avoid that if at all possible. You're asking for trouble. So let's assume I leave Friday at noon, get on to Binghamton, New York. I'm going to use some of my Hilton points to book a hotel that night at Hampton Inn. It's 30,000 points for the night. Which I have a few 100,000 points in Hilton, so I'm going to use that because it's going to be below freezing that night, and setting up camp after dark in Binghamton is going to be cold and miserable and just kind of crappy. Get a good night's sleep, get up around 9 a.m. or get on the bike at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, ride another 2 hours down to Williamsport, have some coffee, have a late breakfast, and then keep riding down to basically crossing over in the Virginia border. So 5 hours of Saturday riding. So then Sunday morning when I wake up, it'll still be about 35, 34 degrees in Northern Virginia. That's totally fine. So it'll be 45 by 5 p.m. in the same area. Some tips for you guys. So I've got Klim base layers, pants and shirts. They're like Under Armour. They're super tight. They wick away moisture, but they also hold in your heat really well. And I've got down insulation on my Alpine Stars touring suit. and then a normal touring suit, and then if rain hits, I've got a BMW waterproof suit that is in an awful green color because all the BMW riders supposedly loves being bright ass huge colors. I don't know why. I mean, supposedly people can see you better, but I don't really see the advantage. So let's continue on. So it's Sunday morning. I've just woken up in Virginia. I'm going to keep heading south, as far south as I can that evening, which I think will end up being Asheville, North Carolina, or Deals Gap, aka Tail of the Dragon. And, you know, that'll be a slow day. Oh, so before we cut over into Tail of the Dragon part of things, if you've got a sat-nav, especially a motorcycle sat-nav that works with your gloves, but also works in the rain, works in the cold weather, basically an IPX 67 or 66 rating that works with gloves, so it's a capacitive touchscreen, not a heat-detected touchscreen like your phone is. Most of the motorcycle sat-navs will have a feature for windy roads or, at basic levels, avoid highways. So once I am in Binghamton, New York, that's a straight shot. I want to get down there. I want to get out of the snow that's going to hit Friday night, possibly. I'm going to avoid highways completely the rest of the ride. So instead of it being 1,700 miles from here to Florida and 27 hours of riding, it'll actually turn into 1,600 miles, but it'll be 10 hours more of riding, so 37 hours to avoid highways the whole trip. If I do highways to Binghamton, so New Hampshire to Albany to Binghamton, it cuts, you know, a little bit of time off there, but you know, doing back roads is fun for a few reasons. Slower speed will mean that you get to see more of the countryside. There's places to pull off and take pictures, to vlog, to rest your legs, stretch out a little bit. Lower speed means safer. You know, if you get hit by someone, you're going to get hit at a lower speed for a head-on collision. It's going to possibly save your life. First interstate, you're going to die. Let's see, what else? Rain is a little safer when you're at lower speeds, for sure. And you know, it's just a little more pleasant. You know, highway speeds, you've got wind hitting you in the face, you've got two semi trucks on your left and right, you're in and out of traffic, there's traffic jams that are going to crop up. So get a sat nav with live traffic and get a sat nav that doesn't avoid highway or windy roads feature, and you'll be golden. So yeah, so after Binghamton, I'll be on the off roads, you know, basically the whole time, and I'll try to find some dirt roads that connect along the way and hop on those and kill a little bit of time. That's okay, you know. I also ordered, which hasn't arrived yet, but it should arrive in a couple of days, the Koa paper manual. So right now I have got this BMW's Anonymous 2016, which is a MOA thing where you can basically have phone numbers and emails of all these people in various cities around the country. Might come in handy if I especially need to pop the tire, put the bike up and fix a flat tire. You know, if someone has equipment that I can use, this has a whole guidebook on like who has equipment, who's offering a place to stay, that kind of thing. Also, if you can, order the Koa Campground Manual. It's a paperback just like this, and it will it'll be great because you know, some areas you won't have service. You can look at where you are on the map, look at the nearest Koa campground, and call them whenever you have the next opportunity to call them. But at least set your sat nav in that direction. And I'm planning on calling 2 or 3 places. Whoever has a tent, I'll book it over the phone. And each day it'll kind of be the same way. You know, get up around 8:30, on the bike by 9 after a quick breakfast or a hearty breakfast. Ride until lunchtime, and by lunchtime you have an idea of both the weather and your sort of ETA for when you want to kind of stop and set up camp, keeping in mind that it's getting dark earlier this time of year, especially with the time change and the just the way the sun is falling in the sky. So around 1 o'clock, you know, while you're eating, look at the Koa map, find out where you're going to be in the next couple of hours, and then call them up and go ahead and book that, and you know, try to find a place where it'll be 3 or 4 hours with stops for your navigation. That way you're not setting up your tent in the dark. So that's kind of the plan, you know, before Deals Gap. Once I get to Deals Gap, I'll spend roughly, you know, half a day around that area. You know, the Skyline Drive, Skyway Drive, Tail of the Dragon, Fontana Dam, all that area. Just having fun on the bike, just chilling out, taking some pictures, vlogging, enjoying myself, talking to other bikers. Then I want to be out of that area and into, I don't know if I'll go to Asheville first or second. I'll pull up the map right here that'll show you my proposed route. But, you know, go through Asheville again, because I had a good time in Asheville, have a few drinks, don't drink and ride, of course. And then, heading straight south. Now, I can head south towards Savannah, or I can head south towards Atlanta. Both routes are about the same amount of time, obviously considering the fact that I want to stay off-road for most of that. And then, depending, again, if I have any weather delays, I may stay the night in Lake City, Florida with my grandmother, and then pop across to St. Augustine. Alternatively, if the weather through Savannah is perfect and I don't have any delays, and I'll just go straight through Savannah on to Jacksonville. It is possible that I can set up camp somewhere between Deals Gap and Florida. That area is kind of, that timing is going to be difficult to predict because it really depends on how many days we are into the trip and how the weather's looking. And of course any mechanical delays that may hold me up. That really is it. So I've got a previous video up here that shows all the things I'm camping gear. I'll try my best to remember, it's not really a time thing, it's just remembering to record Thursday or Friday of this week a video of what I'm actually bringing in my bike for the trip. And you know, that'll pretty much cover it for you guys. I would say that look at your mileage for your next service on your bike, look at your tires, look at your brakes for any long trip like this, and make sure there's nothing that you're going to need, like absolutely have to, must change along the way. Because throwing in a day at the BMW dealership is going to just screw up the whole trip. You're better off dropping it off, you know, a week beforehand and getting that work done, even if your bike wasn't fully ready for it yet. With a 1,600 mile trip, I've planned it out to where my tires have about 2,500 miles left on them before they're not good enough for me. They're basically flattening out in the front and the back because all the highway riding I do. Brakes are fine for another year, and I'll be about 1,000 or so miles short of my next 6,000 mile service interval on my bike, which, you know, oil, air filter, that kind of stuff. And just thinking ahead a little bit, the bike will stay in Florida. I have a flight back home for Sunday the 20th, so I leave on the 12th. That gives me really 8 days, but I plan on being in Florida on Wednesday and then spending 4 days with my dad. So 5 days of travel, 4 days of R&R with Dad, and then fly back. And then before I go back, I'm going to have one of my friends in Florida take the bike to the nearest BMW dealership in Jacksonville, get the bike serviced, get brand new tires on it, and then I'll pick it up in you know, late March and drive it back. So I think the drive back is a little bit more scary because I don't want to wait all the way to April. And in April, in the first or second week of April, I'm going down to Tail the Dragon for Woogies in the Woods, the Golf R event. So I don't really know if I want to drive 5 days back from Florida in April, only to drive, you know, 5 days back to Tail the Dragon in my car. So I'm trying to sprig it up where I do a March road trip back with the bike, and then 3 or 4 weeks later I do the car trip with my car. But that could mean the winter could last a lot longer this year, and we have some problems with logistics. That's pretty much it. I think that covers the whole gamut. And you know, for essential items at the top of my head that I definitely grabbed, headlamp is really important. The LED flashlight is super important, especially if you're on the side of the road at night and you need to diagnose something real quick. You've got your the batteries over here. You got your flashlight going. Headlamp is great when you're setting up your tent. Charge your 4 AA's and your AAA's before you go, because that's what the flashlights are powered off of. USB pack for your handlebars is really handy. Tire repair kit, a jumper cables. Make sure you put your battery tender on your bike when it's on storage so the battery doesn't die and you got to replace it for $200 in the spring. I have a motorcycle cover, which is waterproof, which is great. In the morning, guys, if you've never overnighted with your bike before, when you wake up at 8 a.m. in the morning and you go to get on your bike and it is covered with condensation, cold 38-degree condensation, you're going to be really bummed that you didn't spend the $40 on this waterproof bike cover that covers not only your bike but also the side luggage. Some guys keep their side luggage in their tent overnight. My luggage locks to the bike, so I'm less concerned about it. But you know, get a magnetic rotor, disc lock for the front and the back. Front at least, but back if you can afford it. First aid kit is another one. I'm also bringing my passport just in case. I'm bringing a 1 terabyte hard drive for dumping media off the cameras whenever I'm riding. I've got my TomTom. I've got my GoPro over here. I've got a small camera, and this Canon S110 is going to stay in my tank bag. So if I see something great I want to take a picture of, I can do that from here. And the Canon 5D will stay locked away. You know, I'll use it at night when I'm walking around towns, but you don't want to miss the shot because you can't get to your SLR. A lot of guys have asked, yeah, here's the TomTom Bandit on its suction mount, but it'll go, this will clip on the handlebars like this. A lot of guys have asked on forums about carrying a firearm with you. I would say carry a knife with you for a lot of reasons, you know, not for self-defense, but just for practicality of, you know, cutting things, getting things open, that kind of thing. Carrying a gun with you, if you're a responsible gun owner and you have a concealed carry permit like I do in New Hampshire, you've got to check where you're going, and you got to check every state you're going to go through, from here to Florida, and every state you may go through on accident. Even like, for example, I'll be in Tennessee for a few minutes when I'm on Tail of the Dragon, even though most of it's Tennessee, some of it's in North Carolina. Make sure every state honors your concealed weapons permit, or at least honors allows you to carry the gun in a locked case in your locked luggage, no problem. I would recommend not doing it. I haven't checked the laws yet, but I have no plans to bring the gun with me. Knife is good enough for just getting me out of sticky situations. You know, if you're in full gear, you're not as likely to have any problems if someone tries to punch you in the face. And you know, if you bring a gun to a fist fight, you might have some legal problems, and your trip might become a 20-day trip where you're locked in county somewhere in the middle of Tennessee. So, you know, I personally would not recommend bringing a gun with you. If I'm camping in New Hampshire, I might bring a firearm with me because I'm staying within my state. But cross state lines outside of Vermont, I personally wouldn't do it. So I think this was a pretty long video. So yeah, I hope it was helpful though. I think this was good. I'm going to get this video edited, and I'm going to hopefully put a couple of pictures here in the video for you guys so you can see what I was talking about, you know, just some visual stuff. But I'm looking forward to it. I really am excited for this trip. I don't really know how it's going to go. You know, 1,700 miles on a bike over 5 days. It's not a lot, but yeah, we'll see. So the only thing I didn't grab for this trip, actually, that I wanted to grab before the trip, but I just couldn't afford it because I just bought a house, was the highway pegs, the $150 highway pegs that go into your GSA crash bar and they fold out. Man, my knees really start to hurt, you know, after 2 days on the bike. So that could be something that I have to take a rest day off just to let it, put some ice on it and let it rest. If you do have any joint problems, if you played sports in high school, then I would definitely recommend you start taking Triflex or glucosamine chondroitin a few weeks before your trip. If I don't take it and I start on my bike, you know, for a few days a week, I will definitely start having hip and knee and ankle pains and shoulder pains. But with glucosamine and chondroitin, I can ride the bike every day for a week and not feel any joint pains. So that's something that to keep in mind as well. It's not joint, but like ligaments and such. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. This was you know, pretty informational, I hope. You know, I'm gonna, as we run up here, I'm gonna show you guys to bring a couple of batteries with you as well. So we have here 3 20,000 milliamp battery packs that each have USB. You know, grab a couple of these. If you stay at a KOA, you can plug them in at night. So make sure you grab a 6-port power strip that also has a couple of USB plugs built into it, which is an extra thing, keep you from having to pack like iPhone adapters and stuff. And I think that covers it. So I'm looking forward to this trip. I really am. You'll probably see this on the day that I leave for the trip because I have a backlog of videos. But I'll try my best to post daily videos when I get back. During the trip, I won't have any time to fire up the MacBook Pro and, you know, in 25-degree weather at the campground to edit videos and post dailies. So, sorry. But I will put everything on the hard drive and publish some videos when I get home. So I really appreciate you guys subscribing. It's been cool to have you guys follow along. I know a lot of you that subscribed complain that I only post motorcycle stuff lately. Now this winter time, the Golf R will become more of a center of attention. So look for more Golf R videos soon. And yeah, I appreciate you guys following along. Okay, well, this is a rambling video, so thanks for watching. I'll let you go now. Have a nice evening.